Smile 30 seconds. Why so serious?
Okay, so I've just been informed that we're live. Hi, Alizeh. Welcome to the Freelancer TalkCloud.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. Thank you so much, Alveena.
Okay, how are you doing? How is everything going on with you? TalkCloud.
Just a second. Hello, I'm so glad to be here.
I think there's an echo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you repeat? I couldn't.
It's all right. How are you? How's everything going with you?
Everything's going good. As we all know, we're all home. We're all staying safe. We're all being responsible about everything that's happening around us. So even if it's like being home, we're just trying to keep ourselves busy the way we can. And I think this period of this life for all of us has just taught me a lot. I'm sure has taught you guys also a lot. So I'm happy. That's all I can say.
Definitely, I definitely agree. Again, I want to just welcome everyone that has tuned in to our episode, and welcome Alizeh. Thank you so much for being a part of the talk show. And I think the echo and everything is cleared out, so we can dive right into the conversation. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so you know what Freelancer TalkCloud is about. You have been in touch with us. You've been a part of it for a while now. I want to talk to you about a few things, and we'll be covering a few topics that are not all related to events. But the topic of discussion for today is, as you know, the title of the talk is talk about dreams to destinations. So I want to know a little bit about your journey, a little bit about the things that you have accomplished, the things that you have wanted to do and you have done so far. So let's start with where did you start working from, and when was this that you started working?
Okay. So first of all, I would like to say that I'm really overwhelmed at the moment because it is honestly like the first time that I'm being part of a talk show where I am the guest. Okay. So I'd like to give you a little bit of introduction about myself. I'm Alizeh, and professionally, I'm a voiceover artist. So nothing works without this for me. So it's all about my voice. And I did RJing for a bit. So I've been in the host position almost all the time. So for me, being in the guest seat and being in the hot seat is a bit like, okay, am I doing it right? But then, yeah, I think this is an experience of a lifetime. I will never forget this experience. Thank you, Xenial. Thank you, TalkCloud, for making this happen. So, yeah, the first thing I would start with is I started working when I was, I think, just about 17 and a half.
Wow, that's young. That's really young.
Yeah. So actually, in terms, I would say that I was just really passionate about radio. So it used to be like when me and my sister, I have a sister, probably you guys all know. Uh, so Shahnaz and I used to be, like we're just 1.5 years apart. So all our life we have been playing together, like house and Vo and this. So we're always like, we're partners for each other. So every time we have something, we just observe something that's happening in our life, and then we imitate it, we mimic it, and we do it in our own life, and then sort of live like that is how it is. So I still remember having these fun games with Shahnaz, me being like the radio host and she being like the caller, when we were like, I think 4 or 5 years old. So I think there was something that actually got attracted to my life from the whole playing, mimicking to whole real life living kind of a thing. So my mom used to always say when we were kids that, because I was a very, very talkative child as a girl, as a very young girl. So in my class, my teachers used to say that she is the grandmother of the class. She keeps talking and she can never stop. So mom kept saying that, agar ye badi hogi, so like when she grows up, she is going to make money just with her voice and just with her tongue. So I never knew that it's going to be so true until like when I turned 17, when I wanted to like, be something on the radio. So like everybody would just be like, okay, RJ, oh, it's such a fancy job, like how do you end up going there? What's your journey like? But yeah, just like everyone else, I wanted to become the RJ, the radio jockey directly. I didn't want to, go through all the steps. I just wanted to directly be an RJ. So I was a bit bummed by the time I was 17. Like they told me, you just can't become an RJ. You need to do many more other things in order to become an RJ. So that's how I got into voiceovers. And that really shaped my journey towards my dream. So I could say that was like the first step. Yeah.
So we've discussed this before. I mean, just a little bit of backstory for the audience that is watching us. Alizeh and me, we actually know each other and we've met before and we've, discussed these things a little bit before because I also really wanted to get into becoming an RJ and for a really long time. But never did because like it doesn't seem realistic and like it's not something that is very common or like easy to do, like it's not a career option as like most people don't look at it as a career option. So I never looked into it that seriously either. But actually Alizeh and me had a really long discussion about it and we had a talk about it. And I want to know a little bit from you, like where do you think you were able to find that guidance to be able to find out that you can't really just directly become an RJ if you want to. You have to go through this channel, like like you mentioned, becoming a voiceover artist and then moving on to becoming an RJ. Where did you find that guidance?
Yeah, I think, Alveena, it's very natural because usually, like when we have some dreams or ambitions or goals, we know that there are steps towards that, right? We know that, if you have to become a doctor, if you want to become a doctor, you have to go through these, a very lengthy kind of a step and procedure, and then only you can become a doctor. So similarly, like RJing also has its very own step-by-step process in order to get into the field. But when for a layman or for like, somebody who's just a listener, I could say, they think RJing is like the easiest job out there, because all you've got to do is talk, man. I mean, how difficult can that get? People look at me and they're like, you just have to play music and talk. What to do? And I'm like, yeah. So basically, like what I wanted to say was, good question that you raised was, what was the step-by-step process for me? So I kind of decided I wanted to become an RJ when I was 17. So little did I know, like, what is the procedures? How do I get into this? I had no idea. So that's when my sort of other skill gets into place where I'm very social. Okay, like I'm a social bug. I'm an animal like that. Okay, you put me anywhere, I'll make friends out of plants and animals and whatever. Like I can just surround myself with a lot of people who like me or people who talk to me and enjoy and stuff. So my networking skills actually helped me figure out who all are there in the industry. So I think I was 8 years old when I met one of the RJ and his wife. I was just 8 years old. Okay, so back then I had no idea about RJing and everything. But I had met them and we were moving out of country. We were moving to India back in 2010 when I was just 9 years old. And that's when everybody was sad because I'm leaving and everyone was like, how do we keep in touch? So my mom had made a Facebook account for me and my sister. We were 8, but it was monitored by my mom. But then she was like, okay, you guys keep in touch with your friends. So I think that Facebook account came like, a blessing in disguise. So I had added these people from the radio industry. Like I had met an RJ uncle and his wife and everybody. So all of them were on my friends list. So now when I decided this when I was 17 and a half-ish, I first reached out to this RJ's wife, which is a good auntie, kind of a friend to me. So I used to call her Didi and, like big sister for who doesn't understand. So I actually told her that, Didi, I want to become an RJ. I know your husband is an RJ. So can you make me an RJ? like I was so immature, like that's exactly what I asked. And she's like, babe, that's not how you do it, like I can't just give you a crown and say that, okay, from today you're an RJ, okay? So so I'm like, okay. And that was kind of bumming because, I thought she's just going to be like, okay, you come, I'm going to get you a job. Because I thought that's how easy life was. Now, I go there. So basically, she told me that there is going to be 2 procedures. You have to go for an audition, and she will not promise that I can become an RJ, but she can promise me that I can give an audition to become a voiceover artist. And that's when I'm for the first time listening to what is a voiceover artist. So I basically Googled it. I figured out what is a voiceover artist, and then I understood that voiceover artist is just somebody who is as equal as an RJ, but just doesn't put their name out on air. So if you have an advertisement, it goes in my voice, but then I cannot say Sunsilk shampoo by Alizeh. I can't say that. I can't say that. So it goes from my voice, but nobody knows it's me. So I started doing voiceovers just as soon as I became 18. And it's been about 4.5 years. And I've still been doing voiceovers. I bought a tiny set of mic for myself. I made a very tiny room in my house, which is my studio where I'm sitting right now. So I think that's the journey, man. I mean, like step-by-step process again.
Yeah. Okay. Tell me a little bit about your experience with voiceover. Like, it's really interesting to me because I don't know anyone who has done voiceover before. Like, I have never known anyone who's done any voiceover. So I want to know, like, how does it work? Just out of curiosity, we'll just touch on that so that we can move on from there as well. But like, how does it work? What are the things that you've done? Anything that we would have heard? Or, I mean, if you can discuss that actually.
Yeah. I mean, I have no worries in discussing that. But then I'm not sure how many of you watching, or of course, I know you are not a Malayali, but then I don't know how many of you watching are Keralites, are Malayalis. If you are, then you would have definitely tuned into Hit 96.7 FM, which is a Dubai-based great Malayalam radio station, I could say. It's part of Arabian Radio Network, ARN. So I am one of their, freelance voiceover artists. So I could say 80% of the Malayalam voiceover that goes, female Malayalam voiceover that goes on their station is usually my voice. So if you have tuned into that station, you probably would have heard my voice a lot. Again, voiceovers, just for you to clarify, Alveena, just for you to know what it is exactly, it's nothing but modulating your voice in a certain way so that it's not boring for the people to have a listen to. So basically, if you're listening to the radio, you don't want to be listening to something which is boring because you're already bored and that's why you're listening to radio. So if you switch it on and someone goes like, I'll give you an example. Someone goes like, Union Corp has super sale deal at Union Corp store. Who's going to listen to this? I mean,
nobody.
The next moment I'm saying, happy deals promotion at Union Corp. Just walk in right now and grab the deals. If I say this, everyone's just like, oh, what the hell just happened, And like people would just be interested to listen only because I'm modulating my voice that much. I'm putting in, life, I'm modulating, I'm bringing down the pitch, I'm upping the pitch. So it's usually like very interesting for people to listen. It's catchy for them. So that's why voiceover needs a lot of energy, a lot of modulation. That's voiceovers basically, but you don't really get recognized for voiceovers. That's the only part where it kind of sucks because you listen to yourself on the radio, you feel great about it, you feel like, oh, that's my voice, on the radio. But then who knows, man?
Nobody. But and that is an accomplishment that you have achieved, and that is something that you have, accomplished on your own. So you should still be proud of it. And that is, of course, it is like a stepping stone to greater things. Like I know that you have done RJing as well for a period of time, and that was only possible because you did the voiceover, and you were doing voiceover for a while, and you were able to be, qualified enough to become an RJ. So definitely it's a stepping stone, and it's a part of the process to, accomplishing things in your life, just the way that it is in any other career. So
I think I agree 100%. Like, I mean, I would never, ever, ever give up my voiceover career, because I feel like that's something that is a blessing. So if you are blessed with a great voice, I mean, you don't even have to have a great voice. You just have to know the techniques of modulating your voice. So even if you don't sound amazing, you feel like, I don't like listening to my voice over and over again. I have a lot of people asking me, like, how do you overcome the fear of listening to your own voice? Because, they send voice notes and they can't listen to their own voice. A lot of people have this problem. I used to be the same. And only once I started doing voiceovers, I was able to come out of that fear, because I had to listen to my voice over and over and over again, like for so long. And then I was like, man, it's not that bad. I started liking my voice. So I think for anybody who wants to get into the industry, even if it's you, Alveena, because I know you're passionate about this industry, you just need to be confident to talk about whatever you have on your table. And obviously, you have to be worried about the do's and don'ts of radio, because you're speaking on air, you're speaking live. There are certain things you're not allowed to say. There are certain things you're allowed to say. So mostly what you're not allowed to say is a lot. Okay, because we have to be very careful about that too. So whatever it is, being in this industry, I think just gave me a lot of courage to talk. Because before I used to talk, but I never made a lot of sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how you like to talk a lot, but then probably, 80% of your matter makes sense and 20% just is...
doesn't.
So I think the voiceovers and the radio journey, everything put together just actually made a lot of sense in my life, if that makes sense to you guys.
Yeah, it does. Okay. So I want to hear some of the voices that you do. So I'll be very quick and we'll move on from it very, very quickly. So, but anything that you particularly like doing, or if someone asks you, something that you would do if you went in for like an interview or, like a test or screening or whatever it's called.
Okay, so are you asking me for voiceovers or for RJ?
Voiceovers,
okay. So there's this one which is in Hindi. And it's actually like something that I use to clear my throat. Now, for singers and for other people, they do okay. And for me, this particular script is what works. And a lot of that, people, my family, my friends actually make fun of me, because they're like, "Acha, shuru ho gayi." Like, I started again. So so I'll probably give that a try, so you guys can have a listen.
Yes.
Goes like 5 जून से 19 जुलाई के बीच अपने घर वालों को पैसे भेजिए इंडेक्स मनी एक्सचेंज द्वारा और जीतिए मोबाइल फोन्स, लैपटॉप्स और ढेर सारे गिफ्ट्स भी.
Wow, dude, that was really good. I'm so super impressed. It was I put you on the spot, and you literally came out with like flying colors. That was really, really good. I'm super, super impressed, and I can't wait to hear more. But I think we should.
You're not gonna stop,
huh? Yeah. I mean, we can discuss it at another point of time as well. Okay, I just want to let the audience know if they have any questions, they can put it in the comment section, and we will be going through them in a bit. Yeah, we will be answering all the questions as well in a bit, if you have any questions for Alizeh. Okay, so so the work that you were doing with one of the radio companies was freelance work. I want to know a little bit about how that works, because like we have been discussing on this platform, as you know, you have been in touch with us, and you've been seeing the videos that we've been doing and the content that we've been creating, and it has been very different to the kind of freelance work that you have done. We have mainly been talking about freelancing in events, and the experience that you have with freelancing is something that is very different. So I want to know a little bit about like how does that work? Because you have seen freelancing in events as well. I mean, your sister Shahnaz, she has been freelancing in events for a long time, and she's in the event industry even now. So you see it firsthand. So I want to know, like, what do you feel is the difference between the two? Like the kind of freelancing that is being done in events and the kind of freelancing being done in the other sector.
Okay, so I think freelancing, the word itself means you actually have a lot of freedom. So, you're not tied to a place, you're not tied to any commitments. You're free to work here, you're free to work there, you're free to work everywhere. So, there's a lot of freedom that comes with freelancing. So, I think that part of event freelancing and voiceover freelancing is almost the same to me. But again, it's two different, two different industries altogether. So
Yeah.
it's definitely like poles apart, I could say. So voiceover freelancing for me was really great because it was something that I was so comfortable in doing because I didn't have to really put in a lot of efforts. Now here's the bomb, like people would think that, oh, how do you do it, man? It's so hard. But honestly, I have stopped feeling it's hard because I think it's the years of experience that I get a script. I literally need 5 minutes to record it. And so that 5 minutes is good enough for, a script that is 30 seconds long. So now the whole thing is that, I've just gotten so good at it. I've just gotten so experienced at it that I don't take much time. But now events, on the other hand, is too much hard work. Now, even if you are going to be paid probably better than a voiceover, it is a lot of physical hard work, I would say. So if I had to compare, because I've done freelance events as well, like I had done it for like I think a year or 2 years, I think. And in that 2 years, I also used to do voiceover freelancing. So there has been days where I finished an event at like 9 p.m. and then I would go to a studio, record, and my voice would be so dead because I'm so tired from standing the whole day. But then I still have to bring back that energy because, my other freelancing is as important. So I think you really can't make a comparison between the both freelancing. But then I used to enjoy voiceover freelancing then and now and forever. Events is also the same thing, but then it's just that I don't have time now for events freelancing. So yeah, that's all. Because I mean, I used to like both the industries equal, and yeah, it has taught me a lot.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you when it comes to the physical exhaustion of working in for events. And like if you've worked in events for a certain period of time, then I think you can go through a lot of strenuous activity and not really get tired or not. I can literally, you have pain in any part of your body, I know how to heal it because I've had pain in all parts of my body because of events and like standing or like awkward positions and just the way that the work is. So definitely that is a major factor. And you say that it's not as, but do you think the amount of, because you have to invest more of your creativity when it comes to you being a voiceover artist, the kind of voice that you need to create, and the kind of impact that you want to create on the audience with the dialogue that you're saying. Do you think that is more mentally strenuous than how events work is, or do you think it's more or less the same? Since you have to put in your creativity and you don't really need to use your creativity when it comes to working for events.
Honestly, I feel like both the industries, again, Alveena, are amazing at its own ways. You learn two different stories from two different industries. So I think I can't mix it up in any way, but then I could say that what I've learned from voiceovers have actually helped me in events. Okay, now people would be like, what? Like, do you go and talk to people like you're doing a voiceover?
I was gonna ask you that question.
Okay, like, see, I got you.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to say is that no, I mean, what you learn from voiceover is to modulate your voice in any situation. So any given situation. Okay. Now, if you I'll give you an example. So people might like the examples more than me just explaining it. So if you're listening to a radio station, and if you're listening to there are these things that's called tags that go on radio stations. So it's nothing but stuff like radio live 91.9, that thing. Okay. So if you're listening to a radio station during the day, you would listen to something like radio live 91.9, please listen and tune in, something like that. Okay. But the same thing, same radio station, you listen it somewhere between 11, 12 in the night. Radio live 91.9, that's the modulation. So it's the same thing, it's the same station, it's the same songs, it's the same RJ maybe, but there's a difference in tone. Now, that really makes a difference. Now, let alone just radio industry, let it be a corporate meeting, let it be an event, I think modulation really matters. So if you're talking to a client, you need to modulate in a way where you're confident and you know what you're doing. So it has actually helped me a lot. So more than just being like, very sad and subtle or something like, I don't have any life. Most of them have actually come and told me that, dude, you're really good, man. Like, you know how to deal with people. So that actually came, I think, from my voiceover skills, because if someone would just come and say, hey, how are you? Good morning. How's your day been? I'd just be like, hey, it's been amazing. How's your day? Now, I would not be like, hey, it's amazing. How's your day been?
Yeah.
Alveena,
I know.
please, Alveena, why are you shy? God. Like, I can't just talk without modulating. Like, even if you notice my usual talk, it's usually like high and low, and there's so many waves in it.
Yep.
So, yeah, I hope that kind of answered the question.
Yeah, it did. Okay, so I want to know also about you have worked in events, you have been a voiceover artist for a while. You still are doing voiceover as well. You have been an RJ for a period of time. I want to know, what are you working on now? Are you still doing voiceover? Are you still doing RJing, or are you working elsewhere?
Okay. So, I am still doing voiceovers. As I said, it's freelance, so it gives me the freedom of working at my pace. So usually I just get scripts down, and then I just have to record whenever I'm available. So, and I just have to send across the file that I recorded from my mic. So it usually doesn't hinder my work anytime, anywhere else. So I used to work for events, like I used to work full time with events almost 6 months ago. So I used to love events, because events used to be that one place where I could meet a lot of people. Now that is something I like doing. Just like I said, I'm very social. So meeting people have always been from events. Now there was one time last year, if I have to specify, June 18th, I met an amazing man from an event.
Okay.
I'm sure a lot of you guys who are watching would know who the person is. His name is Khalid Al-Amri. He's a vlogger. He's an Emirati video content maker. He's a video creator. I don't know what to say. He's an amazing guy, guys. If you don't know him, you're missing out something major in life. So you first Google him. So I think I met him, and I was a big fan of him. Alveena.
Yeah.
I was a big fan of him, and I wanted to just be associated with him somehow. I wanted to meet him. I wanted to see how things go. So when I first met him, I wanted to go and have a conversation with him. Now he was just being a host for that event. So I approached him. I said, hey, I'm such a big fan. My mom's a big fan of you. And because honestly, yes, my mom is a bigger fan than me and everybody else in my house. of Khalid. So, I went and spoke to him, and I got to say hi, speak a bit more personally. And the first thing I asked him was, do you want to come over home for like biryani? Because I know you love biryani. And he was like, yeah, I'd love to, he was really like excited. So that was like the first conversation I had with Khalid. Now, after that, he was like, take my number and call me whenever biryani is ready at home. So this was like a life-changing moment for me. But then I was like, you know what? Gotta be calm inside, Alizeh. Like the fan of you, when the fan inside you is just like bursting. But then I kept myself calm, and I had his number for over a year. And I think for about 6 months. And then I went in for an interview with in his company sometime in Jan of 2020. Because, I was looking for something, because I just left events and I was looking for something. And I have this habit of messaging everybody in my contact list saying that, I'm sort of available for job, I'm looking for something. And I think whoever is watching this video, take it as a tip, guys, it actually works. It has worked for me every time. If you're looking for a job, if you're looking, I know this pandemic has done crazy things to us. So everybody is like, sort of, anxious and sort of overwhelmed by the situation of job seeking and everything. One step is message everybody in your contacts. Tell them that you're available, you're free to work. That's all I did. And I did that to Khalid too. I said, hey, I know you have just met me practically once, but then I'm looking for something. I don't know if there's anything with you. And I get a call. And he's like, come in for an interview. And I'm like, what? And I went in for an interview. I was interviewed for a position to be the operation manager's assistant for Khalid. And I was super excited. I was just like, I'm going to get this job. And it ended up that I didn't get that job. So I was very devastated, because it was practically the first time that I'm going in with so much confidence and I didn't grab the job. I didn't grab the opportunity. So it was kind of depressing, but then I kept myself together and I said, I'm going to do something, better. So that's when almost 6 months later, June 18th, 2020, I am getting a message from him. And I messaged him again. I said, I didn't hear back from you. And I think there's nothing for me over there in your company, but is there something for me somewhere else? Probably, a friend's company or someone else's company. So he said, you know what? Do you want to become my assistant? And I said, I didn't have words. So I just went like from wow to I was like, my answer was so subtle. I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And then he was like, okay, fine, let's start work from Sunday. So this was a Thursday. And the irony is, I don't know if we can call it kismet or we can call it like what, but June 18th, 2019 was when I first met him as a fangirl. June 18, 2020 is when I was appointed. So it was exactly 1 year later. So I think this wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for events in my life. So thank God to events. Thank God for that particular event that I went to. So at the moment, I work for Khalid Al-Amri. I'm his personal and professional assistant. I manage his social media and I practically manage his entire personal and professional life. I decide what he has to do. If he's watching, I'm like, oh no. But it's been a great journey. It's just been 3 months, but it's been such a great journey. And for everyone who is big fans of Khalid, I think one thing that they all want to ask is Khalid the same in real life? Like, we've seen his videos, but is he the exact same? And the answer to that is, I don't know how to explain it better. He is exactly the same. Yeah.
That's really great to know, because we see so many people on the internet. We see so many content creators. Anywhere we turn, there are content creators. On YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, on what, like, there are so many social media platforms where we have content creators. But to know someone who's had a first-hand experience and who is currently having a first-hand experience with a content creator of that scale. I think he has like over 1 million followers on Instagram. So like someone who's on Instagram alone, like of course there are other platforms where he has more followers and more, engagement. And to know firsthand through someone that is actually working with him, on an everyday basis, that he is actually the same person that you see online is really actually quite heartwarming and surprising, even because we hear such negative things about people all the time everywhere we turn. So I am so happy for you that you are working in a place that you're so happy with, and working with someone who is who is so humble and kind to you. And I've heard you talk about him before, so I know these things.
Actually,
And
more than humble and kind to me, I think he is someone who you can depict the true meaning of humanity. I haven't really learned humanity better from someone else than him, and this is not just words of brag, but this is words of pride, I would say, because associating with someone who is such a gentle and humble human being is, I think, something that you always want to remind yourself that you haven't reached anywhere. So, when we see millions of followers on our account, and when we see fans dying for a selfie with you, and when we see people just going, right into your DMs and just saying like, Khalid, please reply, Khalid, please reply. It's so easy for you to just close your eyes once and just be like, I've achieved everything that I want to. But then, staying back, staying humble, staying positive, and staying so down to earth all the time, I think, wow. I
yeah,
mean,
it takes a special skill to be able to be there, like to not let all the fame and
right.
all the love and support to not let it get to your head. I think you need to have a special skill and this control over yourself that not many people are able to have.
So
Okay.
I'd like to share an experience with Khalid, which is like, which I think people who know, I mean, like who like him and who are fans of him would love to know. So this story is nothing but I went for a shoot with him to the Mall of the Emirates. Now it's a mall where we've all been to. So we know exactly how it is. It's always crowded, and it's always like, people are looking at you all the time, just normal people. They're just staring at you as if they know you. So it's like it is a public place. So it's Corona. We had to keep social distancing. We had to wear our masks, and we're all like, nobody could really figure out who we are. People could figure out who Khalid was even with the mask, and they were running behind us, and they were like, "Can we take a selfie? Can we take a selfie?" And there were so many of them, and what I saw that day was, to all the fans out there who think that probably he's too proud to reply to you, or he hasn't really responded to my DM or something. I would say that he actually takes selfie with every single buddy. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm so glad that you're working in a place that you're so happy with, and working with someone who
Sure.
you look up to, and you have been looking up to for a while now.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we only have a few more minutes, and we have a few questions from our audience that I want to just quickly run by, so that, and you can answer them.
Sure.
So Modi has asked, how has the current pandemic affected you as a voiceover artist? Has there been an effect in your work, voiceover artist work, basically, because of the
Can I
pandemic?
say it was a positive effect?
Sure.
Okay.
Positive and negative, both.
Honestly, I didn't have a negative effect much. I thought I would have a lot of negative effect. Touch wood. Okay. I thought I would have a negative effect because everybody was losing their jobs, and things were slowing down. So I thought it's going to be really hard for me as well. Because before I got into Khalid's job, I was solely and independently depending on this voiceover, money and the voiceover works as a whole. So I was really like scared, but then I was blessed because I had a setup at my house. So now for other people, I'm sure they would have had issues because we had to travel to the studio, record there, and then come back home. So when the lockdown and when the quarantine was strict and you couldn't go out of your house and stuff, at that time, a lot of people couldn't go out to the studio to record. And that's when I was honestly blessed because I had a mic at my house. So they had no option but to give all the jobs to me. Like they were like, we need the work done. So who can we get it? Like, who can we give it to? Alizeh, because she has a mic. So it actually like worked as a blessing for me. So usually, like, you know how freelancers work. You get some works, you don't get some works, and you're always like, I want that, I want that, I want that. You want maximum works. So for me, it was actually a blessing. So yeah, that's how the pandemic
affected.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Syed has asked, are there any resources or even advice that have played a vital part in your journey?
Okay. So one advice I think that has really kicked me in would be that this too shall pass. So I'm like, just like you see me, just like you talk to me, I'm very loud, I'm very talkative, I'm very impulsive kind of a person. Like, not a lot of people can be sad around me because I would just keep talking, and then just probably like keep pulling their legs, imitating people, imitating accents, and people would just be like, "Can you stop?" So what I would say is, like, one thing that has kept me going, even if I'm so positive and so happy all the time, so like, fun and loving and all that thing, I do have difficult times, obviously, like any other human beings, you do have your downfalls, you do have your issues, you do have some things bothering you. So I think this too shall pass. That statement is what has actually reminded me every single time that, Alizeh, don't worry. I mean, this is not the end of the world. This too will pass. So just hang on, So I think that statement is what has actually been a mantra or an advice, I would say. Throughout my journey.
Okay. We have a question from Sabida. One piece of advice to new freelancer voiceover artists.
I think I haven't reached enough to get to an advice point of a position. But then I would say, from my experience, if I have to talk, that voiceover artists, you just require to listen to a lot of voiceovers. I think that's something that will help you. Keep listening to, what we do is, when radio is switched on, you have ads going on and you keep switching the ads. So if you want to become an ad, voiceover artist, or if you want to become in the radio industry, stop switching ads and stop listening to music. You need to listen to ads, So switch to channels which have ads on and listen to how they're doing it. So it is kind of difficult, but then you will get a hang of it, because when you hear that people doing it, you just imitate, you just enact, and you will get it. So I think that's what I have as a piece of advice.
Okay. Jamal has also asked the same question. Do you have any advice for someone starting voiceovers? I actually have a question. Is there something that you wish you had known before you joined into the voiceover industry, like freelancing as a voiceover artist, or even RJing? Is there something that you wish you had known before you went into doing it?
Okay, so I did speak about a little bit of my voiceover career, but I didn't speak about my RJing career. So I would just bring a bit of my RJing career over here. The reason I didn't speak a lot about my RJing career is that I honestly, as I said to you guys, that I wanted to become an RJ before a voiceover artist. But then the step and the life takes you in the steps. So I had to do voiceovers, and I was really comfortable doing voiceovers for over 3 years. And that's when I was like, I need to be an RJ. I need to be an RJ. That just kept ringing in my head. So that's when I got an opportunity from another GCC country. and I went flying to that place, and I was there, and I worked for a Malayalam station in that country. So basically, when I was there, I learned a lot of things. I learned that voiceovers is nothing, nowhere close to presenting on air live. So my experience being an RJ was just 2 months. Okay? It was as little as 2 months, but then the whole thing was to experience what an RJ does and what RJing is all about. So for me, that 2 months actually did help, because I hosted a lot of events. I obviously did on-air, presenting as well. But one thing that I would say is definitely there's a big difference between voiceovers and RJing. And in RJing, what I wish I knew was that it's going to be hard. Okay, that's something that I wish I knew before, because again, as everybody thinks, I also thought it's going to be an easy drive. It's going to be something that I can just pull it off. I do voiceover so well. I'm just gonna nail RJing as well. RJing is a really easy thing to do if you are that confident. So to bring up your confidence level was something that I wish I practiced and I knew way in advance. So I think one advice for anybody starting off RJing or starting off voiceovers will be that look into yourself in a mirror and keep talking. Keep talking and just keep talking until you feel like you're stuck, And this little thing over here needs to be your best friend, because you don't have anybody in your studio when you're talking except this guy here. And this guy captures everything, So you need to treat him as a best friend. And that is another thing. So if you're afraid of mics, you need to somehow get
over that. Yeah.
So these are the two things.
Okay, that is really good. Actually, that was very informative. And if there is someone in the audience who wants to look into becoming a voiceover artist or even an RJ, these are really good starting points. And definitely, we have tagged RJ Alizeh on our Instagram page and in our posts on our Instagram page. So if you want further guidance, then I think RJ Alizeh is there for your help. And if you want to look into it, and because it was really warm. So a little bit of story, just like 2 minutes, even though we've crossed our time. But the first time, in fact, that I met Alizeh, and I heard from her and her sister that she had been an RJ for a while, and that she was always interested in it. And when I approached her and I spoke to her, she spoke to me about it with so much passion. Like I had forgotten about me wanting to be an RJ a long time ago. But she was like, oh, you should definitely do it. You can do this. You can go here. You should do this. And it was really warm of you. And definitely, like if at some point of time I do want to move in that direction, I will definitely contact you. But that was something that was really warm of you, especially since it was the first time that we were meeting. We didn't know each other at all. But for you to give me so much guidance into like how I can even move into the industry, it was really warm of you. And thank you again. I thanked you then, but thank you again for being so warm and welcoming. And I think that should be okay. We have one last question because I really think the question is interesting, so I thought I'd ask. Sadaf has asked, what is your favorite language for your voiceovers?
Okay,
so I mean, you do a few languages, right? Like you do Hindi, English, Malayalam.
So I do mainly Hindi, English, and Malayalam only. And in English, I do sometimes variations of English. So I sometimes do English with Hindi, English with Malayalam. I do sometimes English in a Indian accent. I sometimes do English in a UK accent or a US accent. So can you share one in English? Okay, I'll actually do something which is something that I like to do with people. Like I prank call people. So I do this and people fall for it. So let me go for that.
Okay.
Thank you for calling Etisalat. For English, press 1. For Arabic, press 2. So yeah, I like doing IVRs. So, so this is like something that I just say thank you for calling do, and then people would be like beep, they just cut the call. I'm like, no, do it back to me. so, so yeah, like I think English. Do you still want English? No. Okay, so I think that's good. But I think before we end the live, I would like to give a small sample of an RJ link so that people can get the RJ vibe. So you tell
Yeah,
me.
I would love that. I would absolutely love it. You can take over from now. You are the host. I'm just gonna sit here and just observe.
So, 8:50 p.m. on the clock. This is Freelancer's TalkCloud radio station, and here is Alizeh with Alveena, and our amazing guest. We're just going to be sitting here having so much fun, playing some great music. We have a lot of messages from Sabida, Jamal, Sadaf, and a lot of people, Syed, and I think we're just going to have a lot of fun. So stay tuned and keep listening to Freelancer TalkCloud.
That was so good. I can't clap too loudly because it'll echo too much in the microphone, but that was so good. Thank you so much for that, Alizeh. Wow, I'm like, I don't have words, and that's new. I always have words. I talk so much. That was so good. And okay, thank you so much for being a part of the talk show. And I had an absolute blast. It was so much fun talking to you. As I told you yesterday, like I was super excited for this conversation, and it exceeded my expectations. I had a lot of fun talking to you, and it was so informative. And I think a bunch of people who wanted to know about voiceover and RJing, they have gotten their responses as well. And to the audience, thank you so much for tuning in to the episode. And this was the journey that Alizeh had from her dream of becoming an RJ to actually being able to accomplish it and all the things on her way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Thank you, Alveena. Thank you, everybody.